Hi, welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get crafting. I saw this super cute little box that says Got Mail on Pinterest for $22.71, and I thought, I bet I could make that. So I found these two little crates from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the tags, and then I'm going to get my utility knife out, and I'm going to cut off one of the short ends on each one, because what I want to do is attach them together to make a wider box. I am definitely fast forwarding through this part because it took some serious muscle. I mean, either that or I'm just super weak, and that actually could be it. So maybe it would be easy for anyone else. I have a problem on my kitchen counter with where we need to put our mail, and so this is going to solve that, and I'm really excited about that. Now that I've separated those pieces, I've sanded them, and of course using the Ladybug vacuum to clean it up, and I will link that in the description box. Now I'm going to use my Kills All-Purpose Primer paint. I use this a lot. It goes on almost like a white chalk paint. It's perfect. And I did literally paint everything, bottom, top, sides, everything. I have this buffalo check tissue paper, and I honestly can't remember if I got it at Dollar Tree or Walmart or Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure, guys. Sorry. Now I'm just cutting out the pieces that would be the right sizes approximately for the inside of the box. So basically 2 of every piece I cut, and I'm going to trim them and try to size them in there, and I'm going to Mod Podge it just like I've done in the past when you've seen me Mod Podge. Super easy. Try to get as close to the right size as you can. Lay down the Mod Podge, put it in the tissue paper, then lay down some more Mod Podge, and then when all of the pieces are in there, I'm going to, once it's dry, you don't want to do anything until the tissue paper is dry, and then I'm going to rip off the edges and sand the remainder so that it looks nice and clean, and you can just watch me do that right now. On the short side of the boxes, there's a little hole that looks like it would have been like a handle. So I'm using my X-Acto knife. I'm just going in there and I'm cutting around that hole and removing the tissue paper from that spot on both sides. Now I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue to secure the 2 pieces together. Now I've been told that you don't overlap the 2, that it doesn't work as well. So if you notice, I'm just putting E6000 on each side and a little bit in the middle of the long side, and then the hot glue around that, and then I am putting it together. I'm going to wipe off the sides real quick because sometimes that E6000 oozes out, and same with the hot glue. And then I'm going to clamp them and hopefully they will stay together. I'm going to come in with some more hot glue down that center seam just for a little extra security. And now I've got some sticker letters from the Dollar Tree. And yes, I have a Cricut, but I don't always use it because sometimes I like the stickers that they have and it's cheaper than buying vinyl. So I am spelling out Got Mail and I'm Mod Podging them. Even though they're sticky, I really want to make sure they stay. And I couldn't find a good question mark, so I just used a black marker and I drew it myself. Now I'm going to go in with some ink chalk paint and I'm going to distress it. Now this is my first time doing that with ink color. I usually do the antique wax or truffle or something else. I gotta be honest with you, I don't like it, so I end up going over it with some white, and I'm using a little makeup sponge, and I must have got it too wet because I feel like I overdid it big time. So I'll just go in and then I'm going to use a little bit of silver, or actually it's called steel, and I'm going to fix that up. Now I'm using a little buffalo check ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to wrap it around the very top and hot glue that in place. The original one didn't have this, but this was just an inspired piece, so I decided to give it my own spin, and I like doing that. I'm not going for an exact dupe here. keeping with the farmhouse look that I've got going here, I'm going to take some twine and wrap it around the bottom several times. No particular pattern or rhyme or reason, and I'm going to hot glue it. And I'm going to take these little lavender pieces from the Dollar Tree with a little piece of greenery behind it. I'm going to hot glue that off to the left side of this box. I just think that makes it super cute and, again, real farmhouse feel. Now I'm going to make a little bow. I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers, tie it in the center, and then clip the 2 loops on the end and just hot glue that right over the little end of the stem of the lavender just to finish it off. I forgot to film myself doing the next part, but I found a little chalkboard with a clothespin on it from Dollar Tree, and then I put a little rub-on transfer of a little letter from Dollar Tree, and I added that to the right side. I really love how this turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Today's video is part of the Chic for Cheap craft challenge for the month of March. The host is Christi from Christi Creates, and her co-host this month is Annalee Ashby DIY. Please look for their channel links in my description box, along with a playlist where you can watch all the other talented crafters who decided to be inspired and do this challenge. You won't be sorry that you did. I hope you'll consider joining me on YouTube by hitting the red subscribe button and then turning on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video coming up. I do all kinds of DIYs in different styles. There's something for everyone. This gorgeous vase is another thing that I found on Pinterest, but it was pretty expensive at somewhere between $24 and $34, and I thought, I'm gonna make it. So again, I'm using one of my creamer containers that I have saved, and I'm using a blade to cut off the top, and then I'm going to trim it even shorter than that after I remove the wrapper. I'm going to cut in one of the grooves because I think I can get a straighter line if I do it that way. Otherwise, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm going to take my little sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to sand around the whole outside of this container because I want the paint to stick and it's a little bit smooth. And then I'm also going to run it over the bottom and the top just to make sure that everything is kind of roughed up. Now I'm using that Kills Primer white paint that I like to use, and I'm going to give it a good solid coat, and it really doesn't take much to cover since it was already white. I have this greenery pick that I got at the Target dollar spot, and it's got these little pieces that when you cut them off, they can lay flat. So I've hot glued them to the side all the way around, and then a couple up a little higher. And I'm just going to make sure all the little edges are secure, and then I'm going to give it a coat of the white paint right over the top. Next, I'm going to use the color Truffle from the Waverly Chalk Paint, and I'm going to distress over the top. Now, I'm not going super heavy, but I'm also not going too light. I can go back and forth with the lighter color if I need to get just what I'm looking for, and I actually do that several times. Here I'm hitting it again with the white because I thought it was a little bit too dark. Now in the inspiration piece, it had a little touch of blue in it. So I'm going to use one of my Arteza markers. You're going to see how I'm going to, there it is. I'm just going to put it around the edge of the top and just over a little bit of the little, they're supposed to look like pine trees. And then I'm using this hard kind of plastic bristle brush and I'm writing on it with the marker. And then I'm very lightly putting that on the sides, and it gives me just the right effect, just the right amount of blue. Now I am going to go back over the trees a little bit because the blue looked like I was just putting little lines on it. So I'm going to use the truffle and kind of cover some of the blue, and then I'm going to go back over it again with the white. It's a back and forth process till you get what you want. And eventually I do, and then I distress the rest of it a little bit, and I'm just really happy with how it turned out. I'm going to go ahead and put some more greenery on the inside. I'm just going to trim some pieces. I'm going to use some of the Spanish moss to fill in, and I'm going to hot glue that kind of around the sides so I don't have to fill up the entire thing. And I'm just thrilled with how it turned out. It's pretty close to the original, just a little bit of a different shape, but I really like it. I hope you guys like it. The inspiration piece didn't have these white flowers, but I really liked them, so I added them, and I'm glad I did. I think it was just the right touch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you know that I'm on social media? You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Come on over and say hi. Now for this inspiration piece, I wasn't going for the exact thing, just the expression, let go and let God. So I took this little sign from the fall. I don't know if those are signs or what they are exactly. I'm using my Kills white paint again. And then I'm going to use a decal from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint the whole thing on the outside and the sides white. It takes about 3 coats to cover, but that's okay. It's totally worth it. And I never show it, but I just use my blow dryer to dry everything. I don't have a heat gun right now. I'm waiting for my blow dryer to die. It's my old blow dryer. When it does die, I will buy a heat gun. But until then, I'm going to keep using that blow dryer. And you can see it takes several coats here. It really does, but no big deal. It dries very quickly. I'm going to take my decals that I got at the Dollar Tree, as I mentioned, and I'm going to cut them out because that's the only way they're going to fit on there. And it turns out I'm not even going to be able to use the word and because there isn't enough room. And I'm going to trim around the letters, cut off those little lines around the word go and God just to get this to fit. And it takes a little playing, but I do get it to fit. Since I couldn't fit the word and, I decided to use my marker and I would draw a little ampersand, but it came out terrible. So you will see shortly here that I get rid of it. I'm also going to use this faux silver ribbon from the Dollar Tree that my friend Lisa, Dollar Mom, shout out to Dollar Mom, sent to me. Thank you, Lisa. And instead of using hot glue, I am using regular like wood glue, Elmer's glue, whatever. That way I can brush it on and you don't get those little bumps. So there's a tip. Don't use hot glue with that stuff if you don't have to because it's kind of a pain. It gets lumpy. Now I'm going to use my steel chalk paint and I'm going to distress it. And I'm just going to distress it all over the place. I love that look, especially with black. I love the steel color over everything. Now I'm going to go back to my Kills white paint and it takes about 4 coats. And I'm going to cover that ampersand and I'm so glad that I did. And then I'm going to distress right over that spot when I'm done. And now the whole sign blends in together. And I love this sign. It has a hook on the back to hang or it can just sit up by itself like a sitter sign. Oh my gosh, did I just make that up? Let me know what you guys think. And here's a last look at all three. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Again, not dupes, just inspired by, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. I hope you like them. I hope maybe you'll even want to make them sometime. Definitely let me know in the comments if you might want to try to make one of these. I think it'll be fun. And besides, now I have a place to put my mail, and I am super excited about that. Don't forget to check out the playlist and visit Christi and Annalee in my description box. Thank you so much for watching. I will hope to see you in my next video, and please remember that you are a blessing to me.